Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Gift of Gab. This is Thad.
Jarvis.
Well, my name is Thaddeus. I don't know why.
My name is Jarvis.
Yeah, okay. Welcome back for another episode, guys. Today, honestly, something that Jarvis inspired talking about on Facebook the other day. We want to talk about the idea of defunding the police. I think sometimes people hear that term and think we're just trying to live in a lawless area, a lawless town. Or, you can kind of say the propaganda is pushed out like that, where that's the idea. I mean, you just want to break down and say that's not all. I mean, because the honest thing is, police don't need tanks, bro. Like, police don't need to be going through neighborhoods and some big ass tanks. Like, it's just not necessary. Like, why do they need militarized weapons, right? And I think also, too, in my opinion, what I think people miss sometimes is we can reallocate those funds that we give to police, reallocate those to education, reallocate those to healthcare. A lot of times we're pushing for us to have health care for everybody, and people want student loans to get paid, but nobody's really willing to give anything up, right? And I'm like, if you defund the police, take those millions, sometimes billions of dollars you put over that way, and put it somewhere else that helps out with that.
When you have this discussion, the first place you have to start within is in the name itself. So, with
True.
our backboard, like defund with the question, like when you hear defund, we think about our own personal finance, and you're trying to defund me. Yeah, I'm thinking you're trying to take my money. You're trying to take my cash. So when you say defund the police, it's one of those situations where you hear, oh, they just trying to like bankrupt them guys, or like just trying to, this that, and the third. But that's simply like English is the hardest language to learn for a reason.
No.
Because the language and words have so many meanings. And no one is trying to take money from the police department. You feel me? Like, we're trying to make sure the money is allocated. Word of the day is allocated towards avenues and venues and resources that we truly need. Like you said, we don't. I don't see a need for a tank rolling down Peachtree Street. I see a need.
Hey, y'all here drinking? Calm that shit down. Like,
but there's a clear and obvious need for social workers on Peachtree Street.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, there's a clear and obvious need for healthcare services, or mental health specific trainings for the police officers should be getting, or they should have a mental health department or personnel that's readily available for certain situations.
Yes.
As we know where mental health is in our year of 2020,
right.
Like this is a lot to deal with, and when I'm upset, I want a hug. I don't want a tank rolling down my street.
That's right. It's like sometimes you see those cases where you'll have people who have mental illnesses, mental disorders, or different, or even development issues.
Right.
Sometimes you're getting a cop sent to that scene where realistically that cop is not trained or educated to handle that kind of person and situation. Right. So you have a situation that got escalated unnecessarily, right?
Right.
And I think that's what people aren't understanding, right? And also, too, it's funny because, we watching games today, and those political commercials that pop up on TV. And it's funny, it looks like they'll pick out specific words like defund, no negotiate. It's like, did you not hear did y'all listen to the whole sentence of the whole? But don't even take a sentence, they take a word. And it's like, did y'all even know what the whole thing they're talking about?
Right.
It's like, listen, like, you have to understand, and this is the one thing I heard a politician say this about America that's very interesting. It's like, we will spend trillions of money for our military, but yet we'll take money from our education. So it's almost like, let's be the biggest badass country, but it's okay if we're the dumbest country. Like, it's crazy. You have countries who, America is a great country. I'm never going to take anything away from that. I appreciate that. My own family has given up their lives for this country, right? Mm-hmm. But it's one of the things of, we have countries who we scream about that, we're the best country in the world. Why are we almost at the bottom of education?
No, so we were at 13th in the world, and we call ourselves the only major world power.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we fundamentally have a moral issue in the United States. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, it's like we're going to the grocery store with two parents, and parent A wants this, and parent B wants this, and parent A always get what the hell they want, and parent B we don't necessarily get. Without parent B, we don't get what we need. Yeah. So parent B tells us that this country needs education, mental health, and all these other social science predicated, things, and then parent A says, "No, we want a military." You know what I mean? We want gas, gold, and God. Like we want all the oil. we want all the church.
We say God, but we stay killing some motherfuckers though. We stay killing some motherfuckers.
And we want all the gold, and that means money. And we're willing to take about any. So in
other words, you're saying America is
our priorities are fucked up. That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Are fucked up.
It's a thing of a lot of times I feel like people hear that and you're thinking you're like damn America. No, it's almost like a thing of I know America could do better.
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to make sure that's said because I think a lot of people go, you talk about America. No, just I expect America to do better. Like for example, I'm not saying America's a child, but it's like I'm about to be a parent. So when I think about my son, if he does something wrong, I'm not chastising him because you're stupid, you're dumb. No, I'm chastising you because you my son and I know you can do better. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. Like America, we can do better.
So, but even in the meaning of like defunding the police, like when you try to have, whenever I've tried to have a conversation about defunding the police, it always comes back to like, well, what if someone, like you said in the beginning, what if someone breaks in your house or do something in your neighborhood or this, that, and the third, the first person you call the police? You are absolutely right. Because every 2 weeks when I get my sad-ass paycheck, I see there's a little tax number taken out there that funds my own security and well-being, knowing that I have someone patrolling my streets.
They're public services.
You are a public servant. I am a teacher. I am a public servant. I have to do things that serve the public.
Man, it's one of the things of like we don't pay our teachers. They're breeding our future. Like you all are teaching our children what they need for the future. Right. And yes, as parents, it's our job to do it too. Right. But you have them for a chunk part of the day.
Right. But so no one's ever said defund the teachers, right?
Bro, no.
They never said. So I understand if I'm a police officer, I hear them like, what you
but the thing about it is though, but we take away from education all the time, and nobody complains.
And that's where I'm going. So funds are allocated out of education all the time. Like, we're usually the first one to see something. You feel me? Like when COVID hit, me and my teacher friends, we talking like, I wonder how long it's going to take before we're furloughed, or I wonder how long it takes before they start trimming classes that they deemed are not necessities. I wonder how long it takes before this grant that we thought we were going to get for technology. Like I wonder how long before they say y'all not getting that no more, right? All the while you have people going to Capitol Hill, they're going to their local localities and saying we need more vests, we need more helmets, we need more machine guns, and does that really serve? You feel me? Like,
bro, why is it
does that really serve,
bro? Like, we have a SWAT team for that.
I think that, as a black man, when I go and I think about like, what is it that I want to see? I want to see police funded to a point where we are prepared and we're trained and we know like there's a community involvement, there's community like centerpiece, like we know who our polices are. They live in our neighborhoods, and I want them to be incentivized for just those small things, and I want them to be deterrents from crimes, and I don't want to have a loved one or a family member who has a mental episode or something like that, and I'm afraid to call the police to help me because it's a large possibility that they may die because of this episode. Yeah. We've seen the videos of homeless people with mental health issues, children. Rest in peace, LaQuan McDonald in Chicago. If you've ever seen that video, which is the most tragic shit I've ever seen. Like we've seen police officers try to get people the benefit of the doubt and say that they're not necessarily trying, or
they don't know.
We'll say they don't know. It's because of the training that they receive and the mentality that they have due to the morale of how things are taught. I make every excuse in the world to say that we've seen what our police, as it stands, has done to perpetuate the racial divide, social unrest, and all this other shit. Like, it's okay if we say, let's look at how we're spending this money to make sure we're getting the best bang for our buck. And when you say defund the police, that's what I hear, right? Because I have not always lived on the side of, I don't want to call it morality because I think I'm a decent person, but I have not always felt safe around a police officer.
True.
Whether because I had done some dumb shit or I thought that they could do some dumb shit.
Probably combination of both of you.
You feel me? Let's change that. You feel me? Like it's If I am telling you that these police officers make me feel unsafe, and I'm providing multiple examples as to why they may make me feel unsafe,
and their job is to not make me
and
feel
I
unsafe.
have to pay them, then they should adhere to what I need. You feel me?
That's like going to a restaurant.
McDonald's.
It's funny because we talk about that.
Trash ass
You
McDonald's.
know what I'm saying? Like you go to a restaurant, you order the food, you bring me my food that's jacked up. I'm like, hey, you didn't provide me with the service that I paid you for,
right?
And then you're cussing me out. It's just like, wait a minute, I paid you to do a job. Like, for example, like I said, your job is to make me feel safe. Right. Police are there for us to protect and to serve. Right. Not to protect and serve people who don't have a certain skin tone. Protect and serve us as citizens. Right. So if you're not making me feel safe, you're not doing your job.
Right.
And every time I get my paycheck, just like you said, and I see taxes taken out of it, I expect you to do your damn job.
By and large, policing is probably one of the few professions I know of that you are okay to I want to call it discriminate. It's lack of better words, but it's okay for you to kind of look at somebody and be like, I'm gonna watch this person because they may do something like you. Right. Where you are.
But the thing is that badge gives you the power to do that because in a perfect world is the idea of it is this person that's protecting and serving is thinking that way to protect me, not because they have other thoughts in their head that are racist and discriminatory or anything like that.
Right. And for the people that support the police and as things go like the hypocrisy is, and they're typically conservative people, right? And we all have our conservative bias one way or other. But typically conservative people are the people that are like, hey, we're pro-life this, and we are, pull yourself by the bootstrap that, and just had it in the third. But they are totally oblivious to that electric fence that certain people live in the shepherds that wear blue suits and a gun on their side. Like they're totally oblivious to. You say this, right? You talk about how much crime happened in one neighborhood, but in this one neighborhood there are 5 police cars just camped out. If I go across the town to an equal and visibly different community, there may be one, if not none. You feel
there's more cops, of course they'll catch more stuff. Hey, sorry, but still, some people you just gotta say it. They're not gonna have the sense to add more than 1 equals 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like people say that all the time, and it's a real thing. Also, I want to talk. I want to hit on this because when I know you made the Facebook post about it. I know somebody said something to this. It's also defunding the police, and once again I want to read it. It's also I want people to think it's reallocating funds, right? Yes. Like maybe instead of giving policemen tanks, let's take some of that tank money away and add it to their income, right? A lot of times people say, well, if you pay more, you get better qualified people. Well, okay then. Instead of us giving police tanks and things like that, which they don't need in the first place, let's put a little bit more money in their paycheck, right? Like that's another way too. You can reallocate funds to where, like I said, policemen don't need these militarized weapons. Reallocate those funds to their paychecks. In their salaries to maybe you can get better qualified people in those positions as well too. But my thing is this: like you have a SWAT team, you have a special forces team. Every state has a national guard. You have things to where if a situation gets escalated to a point, the police shouldn't need militarized weapons because we have other factors that we pay for that have those militarized.
Police
weapons.
should be so in tune with those neighborhoods that before you get to that point, they're able to find some kind of resolve. Yeah. Right?
De-escalate.
You feel me? Like, if I in my classroom, if I can't body slam 11-year-old little Bobby for cussing me out and doing some other bullshit, you shouldn't be able to shoot somebody because they ran a stop sign.
Real.
You feel me?
That's your job.
You should not be able to do that because you don't. First of all, you don't have the authority to do that.
That's true.
But you should not want to be empowered and emboldened enough that your job, that you clock in, clock out, and get paid however so often, it tells you that you can kill somebody and you do it for money. Like for money, you are killing somebody basically for money on the state's behalf. Damn right, defund them fools. No. Change that shit. No. I mean, and for the people, you have the. This goes back to the participation of the political process. You have the power to change that. Right? You have that power. You have the right to mold and scope individual governmental entities into what you need. And you should not be ashamed or afraid of that. Furthermore, don't let words trip you up. Defund does not mean I'm going to take your money away. If I say defund the police or reallocate police funds, I'm saying the same thing.
Man,
right.
you know what, bro? Oh man, we can rap for real. I'm not gonna lie, like literally just what he said is the poignancy of this whole video, this whole conversation. Like, you have a voice. We all know that if you live in the state of Georgia, and then if you don't live in the state of Georgia, thank you for voting in the first place. But if you live in the state of Georgia, we still have work to do. So that's another reminder of that. Like, use your voice. Go vote. Let your voice be heard. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with having an intelligent conversation with somebody about what the idea to defund the police is.
Even
what you
if
think
they
about
have an opposing idea as to you on the subject matter, have the conversation.
All right.
Have the conversation.
Just like we literally say in every episode, the conversation got to start somewhere, guys. So on that, we out. Peace.
So really, what you said ultimately was, what does relinquish mean to you? So, like, what does that even mean to you in the first place? And what you want to convey in our show?
So, like, relinquish, when I hear that and I think about what you guys have created and what it is to me. So a lot of times when we hear the term or we feel the analogy of like somebody being shackled or held down to whatever circumstance that's holding them down, we think about the cuffs actually being an exterior force that's right around your wrist. Sometimes you are holding on to those things.
Yeah.
And then when you relinquish it, let it go, you're free, right? So,
yeah.
But that is a process within itself.
You create your own freedom, ultimately.
You create your own freedom. The freedom is there. You feel me? Like there's always going to be outside forces that influence you to behave as if you were trapped. That ain't necessarily it. You feel me? So, when I hear relinquish, you're letting go things that are holding you down from being free. Like literally, Erykah Badu bag lady, like let the bags go so you can fly. So that's what I hear when I hear relinquish.
That's real, bro. I mean, that's ultimately what relinquish what we try to convey. I mean, ultimately, we're trying to let people know, like, your freedom is really your own. The freedom is there for you to obtain. The freedom is there for you to get it, but you have to let go so you can be free and fly away. So, I mean, really, just what you said, man.
Absolutely. So even when I think about what it is that we are in the journey of where we're trying to create, and this is a show, and it's so many. Let's not get beside ourselves and say that we're groundbreaking and we're doing something new. It's men talking about issues from a man's perspective. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
But what I want people to know is that I hope it's different, or what we're even. I hope this isn't different, but I hope what is the message, what you get from us is, while what we're saying isn't fact, and it may not be fact.
No, it's not fact.
Yeah, it can be based on facts, but it ain't fact.
We're not giving bullshit.
And it isn't the truth. Right? This is our truth. This is what we feel to be true. This is what we think is, what is relevant. This is our moral scope. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you have to trust your own truth. You have to believe, you have to find what it is that you believe. And you have to live by that code. And hopefully that coincides with everybody else. And you just doing your part to make this world a better place.
See, this is why you were one of the first people to take pictures of. You explained it perfectly. But no, I mean, bro. I mean, I definitely do feel you in that. Like, ultimately, what we want people to get from relinquish is really what you think it is. I mean, honestly, ultimately, it's about being free. Right. So, whatever your idea of being free is, that's what it's gonna be.
So you gotta understand that relinquish is as far as what you guys built. Like, you have to go straight to the source for that. But use relinquish as a term, as a word, as a lifestyle. That ultimately, I'm telling you to use that to set you free.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we need.